Hi, it's Maxine, Kaye, and yoga from the Greater Philadelphia Center for Spiritual Living, bringing you another love note, and happy to do so after a beautiful day of chilly weather and yet beautiful skies and beautiful spring trees and flowers. So here we are. I was thinking about following the rules. There are some people who love to follow the rules and some who love to break them, and a lot of people in between. Well, I have found since I was just small that I really like rules, whether they're grammatical or whether they're societal. I like knowing what the rules are. Or for a game that I'm going to play, I want to know the rules, and I want to play according to the rules, or as they say in a card game, according to Hoyle. And yet that doesn't mean I always have. It's just what I prefer. It's what I'm more comfortable with. And I can remember years ago having an engagement with a woman who didn't like rules at all. And as we were discussing what was required and what was expected in this situation, she said, "Well, you're just a control freak." And that was her perspective. And it's interesting because I don't think any of us are freaks. You know, even the lady in the circus with the beard, she's just a lady with beard. Doesn't mean she's a freak. So I don't like considering anybody a freak. And I think it's interesting how we just have different perspectives about rules and not rules. And I love, of course, the Serenity Prayer, because if we're thinking about control, we want very much to know what is it that I really do have control over and what I don't have control over, and what do I do and how do I know the difference? And it's a wonderful, wonderful prayer. God grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, the courage to change the things I can, and, ready for this? The wisdom to know the difference. So that's a very important prayer for everybody. So I want to ask you, what are rules that you like to keep? What are rules that you just as soon not keep? It would be interesting to hear what those things are for you. And I have found over the years that I could be so stringent about having sentence structure appropriate, speaking our language correctly, and I have loosened up about that. I have to, or I might lose friends. We're not always going to have come from the same background, and so what? As long as we're willing to learn to communicate with each other, we can understand more about where we're coming from, rather than impose our rules on someone else. Or the opposite side of that, say, just throw out the rules and just let's do what you want to do. So I think we all have an opportunity to look at the middle road, to look to see what works for us, to be flexible, to be adaptable, to control what we can control, to have the courage to change what we can change, and truly to have the wisdom to know the difference, because doesn't that bring serenity? Doesn't it bring serenity to us when we let go of some of the self-imposed rules or societal rules that may have been imposed? We're always flexible and learning and growing and evolving. So I invite you to look to see what's important to you and what are you willing to sort of let go of, and how can we make common ground here where we love and understand each other without insisting that we be exactly like each other. That would be really boring anyway. So just think about some of the rules that you still think are important, that you'd like to follow and you'd like to have other people follow as well. And maybe some that you think are, well, that doesn't make sense anymore. That's just plain silly. I don't think I'm going to follow that rule anymore. But it can be a good little exercise to take a look to see what's in here. What do we want to keep the same? What do we want to change? What are we willing to look at with other people's points of view. Okay? So that's it for tonight. Tune in tomorrow for Reverend Mike. Be sure to be with us on Sunday morning. You'll hear more about that later. It's simply cslphilly.org. Go to that website. Poke around. Okay, Yoga and I say we love you. Take care of yourselves, and good night.